Good afternoon, teacher. Today I'm going to explain the materials and methods used in my research project titled The Influence of Motivation and Attitude on English Language Learning in the Second Year Bachillerato and Unit Educativa IBAR. So, this section is very important because it explains how the information was collected and analyzed during the research process. First, this study followed a quantitative approach. This means that the research focused on collecting numerical data and analyzing statistical. The main purpose was to identify students' levels of motivation and attitudes toward learning English and understand how these factors influence their English learning process. A quantitative approach was selected because it allows the collection of measurable information from a large group of participants. Through this method, it was possible to identify patterns, percentages, and relationships between the variables studied. The research also had a descriptive correlational scope. It was descriptive because it described students' motivation, and attitude toward English learning. At the same time, it was correctly because it analyzed the relationship between motivation, attitude, and English language learning. In addition, the study used a non-experimental design. This means that the variables were not manipulated during the investigation. The research only observed students' opinions, attitudes, and behaviors in their natural educational environment, without changing any classroom conditions. So the study was also across sectional because the information was collected during the single period of 2025 and 2026 academic year. The data will gather only once from the participants. Now I will to explain the techniques and instruments used to collect the information. The main technique applied in the research was the survey. Surveys are commonly used in educational research because they allow research to collect information directly from participants in an organized and efficient way. The survey was applied to second year bachillerato students from Unidad Educativa Ibarra. Eh, these students participate voluntarily during the regular English class hours. So the principal instrument was used as a Likert scale questionnaire created in Google Forms. The questionnaire contains closed-end questions where students select answers such as strongly agree, agree, neutral, disagree, strongly disagree. The questions were organized into different categories related to the variables of the study. Some questions focus on intrinsic motivation, for example, students' enjoyment of learning English or their interest in classroom activities. Other questions focus on intrinsic motivation, such as the importance of English for future studies, work opportunities, or communication. The questionnaire also includes questions related to a students' attitude toward English learning. These questions explore emotional aspects such as confidence, anxiety, participation, and beliefs about success in learning English. Google Forms was selected because it simplified the organization and collection of information. The platform automatically generates graphs, percentages, and tables, which made the analysis process easier and more organized. The surveys were conducted digitally in the institution computer laboratories. Before the students answered the questionnaire, the purpose of the research was explained clearly. Students were informed that their response will remain confidential and will only be used for academic purposes. They were also encouraged to answer honestly in order to obtain reliable information. Sorry. Besides the survey, classroom observation was also used during English lesson. An observation checklist helped identify students' participation, attention, interaction with classmates, and interest during classroom activities. Now, regarding the participants, the study includes second year bachillerato students between 16 to 18 years old. All available sections participate in the research in order to collect broader amount of information and obtain more reliable results. The sample was not probabilistic because participants were selected according to accessibility and institutional authorization. Since the research was conducted within the institution, all available students from the select level participated in the study. Finally, after collecting the information, the data were automatically organized by Google Forms into graphs and tables. The results were analyzed using descriptive statistics such as percentages and frequencies. The analysis focused on identifying patterns related to students' motivation and attitude toward English learning and understanding how these factors influence classroom participation and learning experience. In conclusion, the materials used in this research allow the collection of organized and reliable information about the students' motivation and attitudes toward English learning. The use of surveys, questionnaires, and classroom observation help obtain valuable data for the development of the study. That's all, teacher. Thank you a lot.